Good morning. This pandemic appears to bring out the best and worst in individuals. Recently, a friend inquired about a situation that he was stuck in. An associate of his offered an investment scheme whereby my friend would be putting money in a piggery farm for a certain return on investment at the set maturity date. The maturity date came and no money was paid out. And it was only with certain threats of going to the police that later on, about 2 months later, that the proponent of the project paid back my friend. My friend then found out that there was no such thing as a piggery farm and that the individual who offered him the investment simply used its story in order to gain money from him to pay off his own debts. And it was only the threat of police or legal authorities that the money was eventually paid out. Now, my friend did suffer damage because of that period, that waiting period when he thought he would get paid out. He incurred his own debts to other individuals. So now he inquired as to whether he can file charges of estafa against the associate who offered him such an investment. The answer to this when we return. Welcome back. The law defines estafa under the revised penal code article 314 as the use of deceit or abuse of confidence to defraud another individual. For the case at bar, my friend relied on the false pretenses of his associate, which is the existence of a piggery farm. He placed in money in the piggery farm, expecting to be paid back a certain ROI at a specific period. Now, because the piggery farm didn't exist and the associate resisted paying said investment, my friend suffered damages. He was forced to borrow money from his friends to tide himself over. And it was only later on, when he threatened legal action, that his associate paid back the amount that he owed him in full. Now, given the fact that my friend was already paid, can he still file charges of estafa? The answer is yes. All the elements of estafa are present therein. First, fraud was committed through false pretenses, which is namely the existence of a business that never even materialized. My friend invested money in good faith. And by investing money, he therefore suffered damages after later on when he called for the return on his capital, none was paid out. So he was forced to borrow from his own friends to tide himself over. All of the elements of estafa are there, and the only question that remains is, how does one file estafa against an individual who defrauded you? It is very easy. You don't have to go to the police. You can go straight to the prosecutor's office because this is a criminal case. Now, when you are at the prosecutor's office, it will be a simple matter of creating a salazar or an affidavit complaint. Now, because the courts and our judicial system tends to be backlogged, I would recommend to individuals filing a criminal case for estafa to approach a lawyer friend or to find a POW lawyer and to request the help to create a complaint affidavit. It will not be more than 3 to 5 pages depending on the circumstances. You simply have to narrate all of the elements of the crime that was committed against you, the steps chronologically as to how you were convinced to invest and ultimately to part with your money, and later on what happened when you started suffering damages. Once you have that complaint affidavit, you then proceed to the prosecutor's office. You will file that paper with 7 copies to the prosecutor's office and take an oath that everything therein is correct and true to the best of your knowledge. Now, remember, a criminal case in the Philippines takes years. So think very carefully before you embark on filing cases, and if possible, do not litigate, mediate. This is Joseph Plazo, Thank you.